Okay, we are on another walk, a walk and talk.
Yeah, well, here we are. Just catching up on something that was said on the previous video, the one that we had just done. Somebody was talking about surroundings, and what, a couple of years ago, I think I did a video on that, but that is something that we can touch on again really quickly here, and that is knowing your surroundings, knowing where you actually are, because there's a lot of people and they could have been living in their neighborhood for years and they don't even know what's on the next block. They don't know what's in the next street. They really aren't very well oriented. They don't know really where they are. They know how to get to something from where they live. I need to go to the post office, I need to go to the supermarket, I need to go to work. But what else is there? What's between that? Where do those streets go? Do you really know your neighborhood? You know, there's a difference between driving and walking somewhere, because you can drive back and forth to someplace, but if you're on foot, it's going to feel different and it may look different. People are used to having things flying at them when they're driving, and they might have their blinders on, so to speak, and not really be mindful. So how familiar are you with the neighborhood that you're living in? How familiar are you with your overall area? Is there a wooded area? How big is it? Where does it go? Is there a creek or a river running somewhere behind your house? Where does that go? Where is it coming from? A lot of things that you could think about. Is there another neighborhood adjacent to you? Where does that go? There's a lot of questions that people should ask themselves when it comes to where they are, because there may be a time where you can't get around, where maybe something's happened and nobody's car is working. There is no fuel, or something of that nature has happened. So how are you going to get around? Where are you going to go? How far is it? Can you get there on foot? Can you get there on a bicycle? What's in the next neighborhood? What other access points are there in and out of the neighborhood where you live? If you're in the city, are there alleys? Where do the alleys go? Because not all metropolitan areas have alleys. You know, I used to live in Massachusetts, in the Boston area. There's alleys downtown, but not in any of the adjoining cities. But as big as they are, there's not alleys. Some cities have a lot of alleyways. I lived in Kansas, in the Topeka area. There's a lot of alleys. Where do they go? What are they connected to?
And one thing I know you should think about too is like, and he kind of touched on it, your neighborhood. If you live in a subdivision, how many entry and exit points are there? And a lot of people, you might have 3 entry points to your subdivision, but they only go into one because it's the most convenient. It's closest to their house, it's closer to wherever they got to go, so they only drive that one. Drive through all of them sometime. One week, take this one, another week, or going home, go this way, coming home, come this way. Walk through your neighborhoods, walk up and down every street in your neighborhood. If you can, and there's some wooded areas, try and walk through there, see what's back there, because sometime it might be a department store or a shopping plaza that butts up to your subdivision, or it might be another subdivision. Sometimes creeks and ravines separate subdivisions. Those are things you gotta know, or should know anyway. So just in case something happens and you need to get out quick, you know which direction to go. Especially if you live in a subdivision and there's only one way in. And there's a lot of subdivisions like that. There's only one way in, one way out. So if you had to make a run for it, you had to leave and the main entrance is blocked, how else can you get out?
And not just in a vehicle, on foot,
On a bike?
on a bike. If you had to get away or you had to cut through, where are you going? How hard is it? How difficult is it?
Yeah.
You know, we talked in a previous video about cutting across or following power lines.
Yeah.
You know, Where are you? How familiar are you really with your surroundings? Are there trails near you? Are there water sources near you?
Yeah.
There's many different things that can be considered depending upon your demographic, even if you're in an urban environment.
And even at work, some people work in office parks. And sometimes
Yeah.
office parks are in the middle of nowhere sometimes, but sometimes it's in the downtown area or whatever. Know how you can get out of there, what's around it. Okay, if I need to go here, I can cut through on this street, these streets connect. Just know that stuff.
Yeah, and when's the last time you walked through your neighborhood? Have you ever walked through your neighborhood?
Yeah.
Again, it's very different from the inside of a car. I guarantee you, actually, if you walk around someplace, you'll find your way around there easier if you had to double back to a car than if you drove through a place all the time and you had to walk.
Yeah.
It's very different, and you'll orient yourself better on foot than you will in a vehicle most of the time. But I would recommend also walking around your area,
Yeah.
walking around through your neighborhoods, seeing where the streets go, how do they intersect, how are they lined up.
And don't always rely on technology, the
Oh,
GPS
please.
on your phone, or I don't know. I guess the smartwatch got a GPS, and the Garmin or
Yeah.
whatever, because they have the walking feature. Don't rely on that, because if it is a grid down where it's a solar flare, EMP, that's not going to work anyway. So you need to know yourself. Okay, I'm here, and this is how I can get home. I even know 2 shortcuts, or I can take the long way, whatever. But try and learn different routes home, different routes to work, different routes to get to your favorite grocery store, and then drive them.
And get yourself some paper maps.
Yeah.
Libraries often give them away for free.
Yeah.
And you can get trail maps and all sorts of things from a local library sometimes.
Yeah, libraries, I don't know if they're open yet, but as soon as they're open, or look around,
Yeah.
maybe you can find some somewhere. But yeah, get maps of your local area. The local parks sometimes have trails, and those trails go through different counties. Sometimes
Yeah.
you can get that. So, try and get some things to help you out. Read it. Do it on the weekend and make that a part of your prep. And we talked about exercising. Make that a part
Last
of
video.
your exercise routine. Walking your neighborhood, walking the trails, walking in the woods behind your subdivision. If you live in a subdivision, if it's an apartment building, whatever.
And don't be afraid to go off the trail, which, you've seen us doing. We always go off the trail. It's fun to see how it's going to connect, what's out there. For us, it's fun. But, there's also an important point to that as well, because that does help with the whole prepping concept. Can you travel that terrain? What's out there? Where are you going? Where does it connect to? These are important things that you might want to know. And there is, again, an important point about the reliance on modern technology. It's gotten too easy. We're at a time now where I bet you, if you're old enough, you remember your childhood phone number. But you can't tell me the password you set for your computer yesterday.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Or you don't know your parents' phone number.
Back in the day, we knew everybody's phone number, or we carried a little book.
Yeah.
Remember? And now it all goes on the phone. Some people don't even know their own number. Don't even know their own phone number. And I think it's really interesting. I've seen a few, I'm not going to name anybody, but a few other prepper videos, and they're talking about burying caches. And they're like, yeah, and I've locked it in where it is on my GPS. Good luck if that ever goes down.
Yeah.
And if you ever find that cache again, because you didn't really orient yourself, you really didn't mark it on a map or anything, or memorize its location, you marked it on GPS. I hope that you did something else to remember, just in case there ever is a true grid down where there is no power and that GPS doesn't work.
Yeah. So, anything else?
A lot of things to think about. Don't rely so much on that technology. Yeah, GPS has eliminated map reading.
It has.
Map reading is becoming a hobby. all the things that are important, all the things that man has spent generations learning, eons learning to do, have been degenerated into a series of hobbies now. Because once upon a time there were things that everybody knew how to do, and now they don't.
Yeah. Boy Scouts used to learn map reading. I don't even know if it's a Boy Scout anymore.
Is there? Yeah,
I don't know.
There may as well not be.
Yeah.
But that's another discussion
Yeah.
altogether. But yeah, I mean, think about it. Everything, industry, as it progresses and as technology progresses, and like I said, again, that's also kind of a different discussion. But it has degenerated all of these skills that man has spent thousands of years developing into a group of obscure hobbies.
Yeah, and
that no one cares about.
And that's another thing that you can practice on now is map reading. Get yourself some maps, even if it's old maps, just to learn how to find yourself and orientate yourself. Do the map reading, find grids, measure things out, distances, learn what the codes are on a map. You know, how to figure out where north is, how to figure out where whatever is, how to read it, the contours, the rivers, the creeks, you know, learn that stuff.
Yep. Now, before it's too late.
Yeah, because once it all hits that fan, man,
Yeah.
it's no crash course.
No.
You crash it, because you can take your time, kind of now, but you know, every weekend saying, okay, family, this is what we're doing this weekend. We're gonna go camping. Got us a little map. We're gonna do it all in this one weekend, you know.
Even just for the experience.
Yeah.
But if there's nothing else, what more can I say? But stay frosty, folks, and thanks for watching.